today.
Well, you know what we're discussing because you
Oh,
saw
I
the
do.
agenda.
The agenda.
That's been like the recurring theme, man.
Mhm.
Read the agenda,
It's
huh?
gonna be a good show. It's gonna be a good show,
It's
y'all.
gonna be a good show. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, okay, we live on the YouTube. We just got to get us live on IG. Thanks for anyone that showed up on Facebook and YouTube. And now we are live on the IG. So we are back. It's Monday. You were tuned in to another episode of Technically Speaking, where we are giving you news.
That you can use.
In
Yeah.
use.
Yes, and we are back. How you doing, Bobby?
I'm doing all right. We got some exciting news topics for you all today. We are going to make sure that you are informed and that you're well aware of things going on around our country right now. So,
Oh yeah, we got some love on IG already. Danny, she's coming to the show next year. Much
all right.
love. She said happy Monday.
Happy
And then
Monday.
TC5 joined us. Shout out to you. Thanks for showing us love tonight on this Monday. So we tuned in. If it's your first time, her name is Bobby Lopez, our co-host. And then I'm your other co-host, Geronimo. Our third co-host, Corey, couldn't make it tonight. He's actually in Hawaii working on his tan. It's his wife's birthday. So shout out to him and the wifey. Happy birthday.
Corey Wave.
Need to go surfing out there, man.
Oh, tell me about it.
Pop up. And then we have a special guest who's back. He was just with us recently. He's an Army veteran. He is a full-time father. He raised a girl by himself. You know how, like, we had a conversation on a previous episode where some women gloat about being single mothers, right?
Mhm.
And being independent and doing it on their own. Well, he's a single father, full-time.
Shout out.
He's on his own. Come on now. It is not easy to raise a girl. I know that. And he did that. He did that. So hey, much love for that, brother. I salute
Good for you. It takes a lot to do that. So yeah, we give shout outs to single moms, but what about the single pops out there raising their
single
kids?
fathers doing it. They don't get the recognition and credit that they deserve. So that's to you and all the other single fathers that's raising them kids by themselves, man. Because that is, man, it ain't easy, man.
Sure, for sure. Thank you. I appreciate it, y'all. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. And then he's also a cybersecurity subject matter expert. So YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, help us welcome back Daniel.
Hey.
Welcome.
Took me a minute
Thank
to find
you.
that button real quick. My fault.
Thank you. I'm glad to be back, second time back. Hopefully, we got some more episodes coming with me being present. But yeah, thank you. I appreciate y'all giving me my flowers too. I'll be honest, I kind of get that a lot when I start talking and people start finding out stuff about me. They be like, what the you got going on? And they tend to give me my flowers a lot, but it's never like, it's always, I'm still humble about it. I'm an adult. I had a child. I took care of my child. I don't think it's special, but I guess it is kind of rare because
in this day and age, it definitely is, my friend.
Yeah,
it's definitely rare these days and age. Well, it's too easy for people to give that up, but you chose not to, and you chose, to kind of take that harder route, but definitely the better route. And even if your daughter doesn't see it, she will absolutely appreciate you, even if it's not in the moment. That time is coming, so don't give up. Those days get hard and stuff, but continue loving on her, guiding her, praying for her for sure, and doing the best you can every single day by her. Do the best by her. So trust me, it means a lot. I know
it does, man. I honor that, man. Mother Teresa is the one who said the best way to change the world is to be a good parent. That's how you do it. Hey, I'm dropping the bomb. Come on now.
That's facts. Yeah, that's facts for sure.
And then you said that you're gonna keep it humble. That's cool. You be humble. Let your friends like me, I'll brag for you. I'll do that
for sure. Thank you. I appreciate it. She's about to be 17, by the way, too. So.
17. Hey, man. Teenage years. Look. Teenage years.
Look, these are some hard years, all right? Hard years.
Dude, one of the scariest things in life are teenage girls, man. I'm gonna tell you, the age of 12, 15, and 18. Those are the ones you be like, oh, they just
the most trying years,
man. Dude, like their words cuss like the words they cut, man. They cut like the most sharpest sword that what is it, a ninja could have or something, you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
And they just they stick it in your heart, they twist it, take it out, and they put it back again. That's what they do when they become teenagers. Bobby, you know what's up.
No, you know I have 5 girls. I do have
Dang, 5 girls, man.
I do. Yeah, we talked about this last time. So I have 5 girls and one boy. I have a total of 6 kids. My youngest is 5 and my oldest daughter is 20. But I do have an 18-year-old daughter, a 15-year-old daughter, an 8-year-old, and a 5-year-old, and then my son is 17. Good kids. My son definitely has a good head on his shoulders. My older daughter, 20, she's going to school for nursing right now, and so good kid for sure. I do love my stepkids very much.
I feel sorry for your boy. He got to deal with all of you.
No, I don't feel sorry for him. He's good. He's a good kid.
That's a lot of
he's the oldest because he's actually the tallest out of everybody. He's like 6'1". Yeah. The guy's tall. He's a good kid though, for sure.
Nah, he got you as a parent, so you know I expect nothing less than that. You know what I mean? Yeah. So Daniel, man, let's talk real quick, man. You know, single father, raising a daughter on your own, man. We touched on it briefly on the last episode. You joined us on, and you talked about getting your master's degree. Talk about that, man. Talk about being a single father, no help, working full time in cybersecurity, and getting your master's degree in cybersecurity, man. How was that, man? Share that journey.
It was I don't know if I say it was tough. You know, like I've been kind of, God done programmed me to handle a lot of stuff just because of my upbringing, you know, so I'm really, really tough. And my moral compass is intact. So I do the right thing no matter what the consequences is, you know.
Nice.
And so I knew
I do.
Yeah, I knew like raising my daughter and going through all of that, the military stuff and going to school and all of that. I just always knew that it was the right thing to do. Not only was it the right thing to do, it was what I wanted to do. I don't run from nothing, you know? And so going to school and raising her and going to work all at the same time, it's just a matter of a balance. I had to stop doing certain things like going to the gym. So I got fat for a little bit because I had to I was trying to do all of it at one time and it was really difficult. So I was just like, hey, take a step back, focus on school, focus on her. And over the past 2 years, you know, I was able to get my master's in cybersecurity. This is actually my second one. My first one is in management information systems.
Hey, this one's for you. Because last time you was the one with that bomb on it, right?
Hey, I need
Your second master's.
My second one, yeah.
What's your first master's?
Management information systems.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah, from University of Maryland, you know. But it was challenging, but I'll be completely honest with you. I like that.
That's what's up.
I'm gonna take on the challenge, and maybe I like being different because I knew it was all abnormal. Even when I was going to get my cyber degree, people was trying to understand how I was going to bridge logistics into cyber because I bounced around my military career, and I was like, watch how I'm gonna do this. And I did it, and now people are like, "What the? He did that? He did that too?" You know what I mean? Like, I get that a lot. You did that too? Okay, you might be a little different. I don't know.
I mean,
I'm a little.
That's good, man. Give yourself a pat on the back. You worked.
Hell
Give yourself 3 pats on the back. You know what I mean? With both them hands out there.
There you go.
There you go.
Could being from New York have anything to do with that? So I know you New Yorkers hustle. We got some New Yorkers on IG with us too. Shout out to the NY crew out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm born and raised in Buffalo, New York, East Side. I was showing one of my colleagues like where I live today. He was like, "Oh, a little rundown," you know. But facts, man. He was like, you know, he's from San Antonio, so. But yeah, that's definitely what it really comes down to is that I preach the same thing to my family, to my brothers, and everybody who want to be tough guys and stuff like that. What I notice is coming from like the neighborhood I come from, don't nobody press that line when it comes to nothing else in their lives, just the street stuff.
Yeah.
They don't press that line when it comes to resumes, when it comes to raising their kids, when it comes to going to school.
That's true.
You step on their shoe and they want to get tough.
Yeah, that's crazy, right?
And so I was like, I'm born and raised there. I'm like, man, I'm gonna be tough all the way around. If it ain't gonna kill me, I'm gonna get through it and I'm gonna handle my business. Point period. Whatever I want to do, I'm gonna do it, and it better kill me. Because if it ain't, I'm gonna conquer it. And that's that, the position I took. So
hey man, gotta be tough on life. I got that for you too.
Maybe it's because I'm from New York. I don't know. I know some LA folks that take that same position, you know what I mean? But
it's just it's the grind, man. It's the grind. When you come from the grind, you just got to know how to reroute it into the right direction. I would say. I mean, if you come, I know Bobby, she's from San Antonio, man. If you got that hustle in you, you just need to guide it in the right direction. That's all. What you think, Bobby?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about that coming from broken backgrounds. I'm no different. I've come from a broken background, from a not good neighborhood, from a not good, not super good family upbringing, but I chose not to take that route, and instead I redirected the negativity that I saw in my life to create a different path. So just like you said, and a lot of it probably does have to do with because I joined the Army, because it brought out a toughness in me that I didn't know that I had. It created a lot of resilience, being able to master some of the things that we learn in the military, and the mental capacity it takes to be in the armed forces is a lot. It takes a lot out of a human being, because once you decide to serve, like, your mental health is never going to be the same again. It's not.
You gotta understand. I did 11 years in the Army, 365 days a year, active duty. That programming that it does to you, it definitely can make you numb. But to be on go for 11 years, 365 days, on go, you know what I mean? Like never resting, your mind never resting. You could get called in at any time, whatever. It does create a whole new beast. So I got out here in the real world and was like, this is easy.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I work at home? What?
Yeah. And people are here complaining? What?
Complaining? Yeah. I gotta go into the office. I'm like, oh man, you better shut up, man. Like, I was up at 3, 4 a.m. for 11 years.
Yep.
This is nothing.
Yep.
You ever been to 05 formation? No? Shut up.
Facts.
Well, I was Air Force, but even I never been to 05 formation. I just gotta put that out there.
You're a smart guy, man. You come from where I come from. You're gonna join the Army. You know what I mean?
I was up at 05. I still get up at 05, if that counts. Hey, and shout out to all the vets, because we got some vets that are tuned in too, man. So shout out to y'all. Do it again. Hey, man.
Yeah, that's right.
Creative Native. That's my brother. For those that don't know, he said my grandpa once told me sometimes a swift boot in the ASS is all someone needs to redirect themselves. No, 100%, man. In the military,
that ain't never gonna change.
Not at all. Not at all. You need that, man. Like,
you truly do.
Yeah, you got to do that, man. Stay like I said, that goes back to what we said earlier, right, man? The best way to change the world, man, is to be good parents, and being good parents too. Like this whole wave is like gentle parenting. Like, I've incorporated that into it, but it's old school. So you ass and butt, you got to do it. So I'm sorry, I don't know if we're gonna get a flag for that, but it's just sometimes you got to do it, man.
It's a lot of that across the board in society. Even in the Army, we was in the Army. You know, the drill sergeants could almost beat you up. Now they got the stress cards. Like,
that's crazy.
And that's weird. I hear those stress cards. They take them. They give them to you, and then I guess they take them out for some cycles. So I think it's just hit and miss. But I think right now in society, you cannot show me a single successful working adult doing awesome things in life with zero discipline. You can't. There isn't one. Discipline is literally a requirement of being not just a good human being, but being a good adult. Because without that, again, like, your moral compass is going to be all over the place.
Right.
And you ain't
We
gonna
gotta
hit
be
that
role
every
models.
time.
Ooh,
We gotta be role models. That's the other part. We definitely gotta be role
100%.
models.
Speaking of being a role model, I think y'all set it up for this first topic we need to talk about. And discipline, right? And someone who couldn't have made it without discipline. And we got to talk about Donald Trump, man. Let's start this off. Last week, at the end of last week, Donald Trump was named Person of the Year by Time Magazine. Hey, man, I got to drop a bomb on that, man. Now,
did you say magazine? I'm just playing.
Hit it again.
I see what you did there. You know what? Leave
I couldn't help it.
Get that going. Well, it should get us going in that on that topic. What's your thoughts on that, Bobby?
You know, I'm honestly a little bit surprised as you know, Donald Trump receives obviously a lot of flack from the media, and it's hardly ever something where you see something positive come out of it. But there's been a lot of political waves made in the last year and a half for sure. He's been able to change people's minds by just being consistent in what he's talking about, what he wants to do for the nation and stuff. And all we can do is hope that, you know, he abides by that. I'm not unhappy with his first term. It'll be interesting to see what's going to happen. I don't want to set us up necessarily for a topic we're going to have later just yet, but I think that there are definitely some things happening. But as far as Trump goes, it's good. I'm glad that he's being recognized and stuff. I think there's a lot of people who have tried to come out and say, hey, you don't know this, but he actually helped me this, and this at this point in my life. But nobody is ever showcasing those videos in the media ever. Things that he's done for service members, things that he's done for homeless people or women who are, you know, were in shelters and stuff like that. Nobody's talking about the good, you know. But good things.
We had a short that just dropped on our channel today. So if you new, man, go to our channel, Technically Speaking. And you said that, right? Like the media, actually, no, it comes out tomorrow. It comes out tomorrow that the media, man, is like 10% facts, 100% lies, man. They tell you what they want to tell you to misguide you, to your point. Good point. Daniel, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, man, I think it's nothing with him shocks me anymore. You know what I mean? Like within his first term, like I was like, man, he doing stuff that I don't think nobody else can do, you know. But I'll be honest, a lot of things about him and the whole, you know, administration stuff I don't like, but I also think that we are misinformed on a lot of things too. So you don't know really what things he's actually done right, and all of what he's done wrong, other than what they report on the media. And I don't like the media anyway. They too biased. They too biased. You know, the left is CNN and the right is Fox. You know, so but I will say this about him. This is probably one of the biggest things I can say about him. I do see some leadership qualities in him. I haven't seen. This nation has not seen a president that tenacious in a long time.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? He is determined.
Yes.
You know,
I gotta.
He didn't have to show up, and he showed up anyway. He did not have to run again, and he did it anyway. He keeps showing up. He keeps speaking. So even if you don't like him, I can respect that from any man.
Yeah,
it's like I'm gonna handle my business. Do whatever I gotta do. So
I absolutely agree with you. You know, a lot of people don't know, but during his first term, he didn't take a single cent of his entitled paycheck for being president, and he's already come out about that. He's not going to do that. Man is working for free, free for our country, and that, you know, that I think demonstrates leadership quality. He's not showing up just talking a big game. He's gonna make things happen, and that's, you know, somebody who I would be able to be like, okay, you ain't perfect by any means, but we're gonna make this work. We're gonna, you know, be open-minded and see what's gonna happen this time around, because I think that's huge. That says a lot about him. Willing to work for free, you know.
That's
a lot.
Now, to your point too, Daniel, man, you can't. You have to respect someone that has that type of tenacity, man, for real. because we live in an age, man, where people give up.
Yeah.
This is too hard. I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
The last time you seen somebody that folk like, nope, I'm doing it. I don't care. No matter how many people
might get assassinated. Let's go. They already tried to kill me a few times. Let's go.
Even if somebody I don't like, I'm from East Buffalo. We got all kind of ops and stuff like that. The ones that was like hiding and all of that and like being passive aggressive, we don't respect that. But the ones that's in your face, like, yeah, what's up?
This is what it
is. Right on target. You got to respect it. Yep. But I will say that I don't trust it. I don't trust him. I think there is a bigger agenda at play, and they know something that we don't, which is why you see both sides trying to get whoever into office. I know for a fact they know something that we don't. We work in cybersecurity, and there's different classification levels.
Yeah,
there's different top secret this and all of that. It's some stuff they don't want you to know, and if you did know, how would you react to it? What would you do with that information?
Yeah.
So I do think we are not informed intentionally.
Yeah.
Well, of course, we have a shady government, and I ain't even afraid to say that. Like our government.
Oh, she said it right on the.
She said it.
Super shady.
Ooh,
it's politics as usual, man. It is what it is. We got some feedback on IG. Creative Native said all he asks is to make America affordable again. And then Danny Bernay _Divine. Check her out on YouTube, by the way, too. She got some cool videos out there. She be traveling the world, man. This stuff is cool. She said she thinks we're going to war. I don't know. You know what? I mean, so, and if we do, I would say it's because that's a call he had to make as a leader, right? I cannot argue against what both of y'all are saying as far as his tenacity and how he showed up as a leader. If that's the case, it's because he's making that leadership decision that, hey, we got to do what we got to do. You know what I mean?
But he's already said he wants nothing to do with any type of war, because all that does is cost our government more money that we don't even need to be spending as it is.
But war actually makes money, and they know that. Like
for some pockets, it does. Yes, for some pockets.
Especially this government right here. I won't get too deep into it, but if you pay attention over the past 100 years of history, they found ways to insert into wars that they pretty much didn't really have anything to do.
Oh, absolutely. The United States is the world police. You're not going to find armed forces in any other country like you are here, because we are willing to go out and fight for other countries and die for other countries, because it's the truth. Yeah. Once you step outside the United States and you happen to be in another country for the sake and protection of others in those communities, you're not dying here on U.S. soil. You're dying in foreign soil. That's a lot.
Yeah, and you know what I mean, to keep it 100, because we all about keeping it real here, right? It's not, nothing comes for free, right? In economics, you learn there's no such thing as a free lunch. There's a reason why we do it, right? Yeah. If you notice, there hasn't been a war fought on U.S. soil since what was it, the 1700s? When England came and conquered, was it DC? The one time, that was it. When England came back, I believe it was around that time frame. But we got it back and took it back and held it since then. It was like, I forget the exact date, but that's the only time that or a civil war, I guess.
Well, I was about to say the Civil War happened far after that.
From a foreign nation. There has been no
I didn't think we had to mention that.
Foreign nation. That was an insider threat.
Ukraine, the whole Ukraine and Russia thing is the one I've been paying attention to. I was stationed in Germany. And so just being stationed in Germany and see how the military operations work out there and all of that, I can see how easily that could spill onto the U.S. because we're right there. And NATO, being stationed out there all up in the Baltics, Lithuania, Poland, Romania, and all these different places and stuff like that, it could spill very easily. And part of our force being over there is to deter the Russians anyway. And then what did they do?
Yeah,
they invaded Ukraine anyway, and so it's just a matter. It's a waiting game to see how this is going to play out. But I do think it's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, I think it's been pretty quiet. It's kind of the calm before the storm type of deal.
Absolutely.
I think there's more to come. I would say, not trying to sound like a doomsday prepper, just, you know, be ready. Make sure.
Hey, you know what you could use? Get some supply, like straight up. Get prepared. Get propane tanks. Get your, if you're on the West Coast, what you would use for an earthquake kit or anywhere else, a hurricane kit, stock up just in case, man. Because
just in case, you never know. But man, you'll be thankful if you had that extra just in case. Just in case. You don't know what that looks like, but you're not. You got to be smart about some.
Yeah.
Some of these things, so.
We're getting more feedback about the wars, the Alamo and the Great Indian Wars. That's all due to colonization. I'm talking once we were established as a U.S., as the United States of America, there has not been a foreign nation on our soil that we've had to
on our soil.
Yeah.
Do you know why?
What's that?
So why? Do you know why?
Elaborate. Share.
I sure will. I happen to watch a guy. I'm not going to share his name, but I happen to watch a guy that talks about what if the world actually went to war, who would win, and hands down, it would be the United States, because no other country would be stupid enough to walk across our borders because we have Second Amendment rights. They would be walking into armed militias before they get anywhere near any main capital. They will be stopped because there are millions of registered gun owners around the United States who firmly believe in their constitutional rights, and they will absolutely take out any foreigner seen and will see you as a threat. So you won't get anywhere with
if you want to. This is what you're gonna get.
You want all this smoke.
I don't think nobody.
You're coming for all this smoke right now.
I don't think nobody walking across the border. Advanced technology.
I'm not even talking about walking. It would just be a matter of an invasion that U.S. citizens would step up to the plate. You don't need to wear a uniform to defend the United States.
We're gonna hold our own. We're gonna, and then Creative Native said Red Dawn. Hey, I'm with you on that. Yup. Hey, we're not going out. And you know what? To add to that, right? I was watching this other guy, and I forget his name. He does all these different type of like conspiracy videos. But he made a great point. Like strategically, we are very well protected because to get to us, you got to cross two major ocean bodies, right?
Yes.
You try to come from the north, you got to get through Canada, right? And if Canada lets you in, that means we got an issue with Canada now. You know what I mean?
Facts.
And then if you got from the south, you got to get through Mexico, right? And if they letting you in like that, now we got an issue with Mexico. You know what I mean? Like we are very well protected. Like I don't know if our founding fathers like considered that, but damn, that was smart if they did.
Yeah, the United States is directly placed in the middle between two countries, right? So I don't know. That's definitely designed well. You know,
see, war shows up on our doorstep through stuff like 9/11.
Yeah,
they do little sneak attacks and stuff like that. Well, I don't think we have to worry about fighting a war in Jacksonville. You know what I mean? Like we ain't got to worry about that kind of stuff.
Nah.
But it is going to be, when I say stuff spilling over, I mean secret terrorist attacks that play out in the United States that people try to make it seem as if it's really domestic, but it's not. It's to support a foreign agenda. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when that stuff happened and we tie it back to Ukraine, or not Ukraine, Russia or whoever, that's when we're going to be like, okay, you can't be coming over here. I know we supporting Ukraine or whatever, but you ain't gonna come over here and attack us.
Yeah.
And do this and do that. So now you just forced our hand, and now we're going into the war. That's the kind of stuff that I think might happen.
Y'all brought up Ukraine a couple of times. Go ahead, Bobby. Go ahead.
No, I just it's possible, and those are really strong. Those are hard decisions. Those are really hard decisions to make, and I wouldn't want to be sitting in those shoes that have to make those decisions.
No. No.
I'm fine with these little baby shoes over here.
Yep.
Well, Trump, you got that, homie, because I don't want to do
it. You got that, homie. That's right.
But that's why I always talk. That's why I agree with you. The government, I don't want to work with them or nothing. I support them, support the DOD, but I don't want to work with them because it is some stuff that just seem a little shiesty, and they don't have to admit it. 2 + 2 is always going to be 4. And so when some of these attacks happen, we got one of the best intelligence agencies in the world. You cannot convince me that they didn't at least know about it.
No, they absolutely know about it. I feel like they play a game where they allow certain things to happen.
to manipulate public opinion.
To manipulate
and then they throw it in the media because January 6th riot should have never happened.
Nobody will ever
9/11
be
should
able
have never
to
happened.
Otherwise, yeah.
Pearl Harbor happened.
Yeah, no, good point. Good point.
Yeah.
The conspiracy theories are building up now.
Someone will put your head on here somewhere.
Conspiracy theories. We're going to jump to another topic, but I want to close off the topic of Donald Trump. The one thing I want to say about Donald Trump, man, him getting named Person of the Year by Time Magazine, MAGA. One thing that he's always been genius at is branding. Right? We said once on the show, brand like Beyonce. F that. You need to brand like Trump, man. Like no one is a better brand marketing person than he is. Maybe second in line is Snoop. But he takes the cake on being just a brand ambassador, marketing genius, all of that. So I give him kudos for that. Hey, I dropped the bomb on him just being like the #1 marketer in the world.
Yeah.
True.
Now I do think it's corny.
You'll buy it whether you like him or not. Whether you hate Trump or you like Trump, the fact that it has his name on it, you'll buy that shirt. All you're doing is making his pockets deeper.
Yeah, nah, for real. Even if you get an anti-Trump shirt.
That's what I'm saying. At the end of the day,
this whole thing, man, just made him look even more right to his supporters. Like he's been right all along. We did the right thing by supporting him because of everything they went through to try to not get him elected, and he still made it through all of that, and he's still going. People like, I knew I rock with that fool. I knew I rock with him.
Yep. And you know what? Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I don't know if I'm sure Geronimo knows because I know I've told him, but he actually got the largest number of Hispanic and Black voters than any other Republican in the history so far. Largest number of Black and Republican voters this past election turned out in masses for support for him. Yeah.
Hey, I think that goes to Daniel's point, man. Like everything they did to try to like get people to turn away against him, I think pushed them towards him.
It pushed everybody towards him. That's exactly the point I was making.
Yeah.
Everybody saw, even Black people saw it and was like, man, this dude, he's different.
We go through that too, homie. We feel you.
Yes.
Hey, you know what? The cops messing with us too. We get it.
Facts.
We be getting Trump up charges too.
Dave Chappelle said, oh, when he was recapping what Donald Trump said during the debate with Hillary, he said this whole system is rigged. And then his response to it, they said, well, how is it rigged? He said, because I use it to my advantage. You gotta respect that. He's not lying. He's not lying, yo. He's not lying at all. I don't want nobody in there that's gonna lie. So,
nope. He gonna tell you the truth. Hey, at least he earned that damn Person of the Year. So y'all were talking. So back to conspiracy theories, right? Here's another conspiracy theory, man, and it involves Diddy. The Diddy continues, man.
More people coming out.
Man, the last couple of weeks, Jay-Z made it into the allegation list, man. What y'all think about that?
I could take this one real quick. The whole thing with Jay-Z. You know, Jay is smart. I like his response to it. Instantly, he went right after the lawyer. Like, we already know the allegations is foolish. We know situations out there with superstars raping and all this other kind of stuff. But Jay-Z does not appear to really have a track record of that.
Not at all.
I don't think somebody of that magnitude can hide something like that for so long, even if they pay people off. People turn on you. When you look at Diddy, they turned on him. You understand what I'm saying?
Turned on him. Yeah.
And none of us can imagine Jay-Z holding down a 13-year-old little girl and raping her. Like, what are you talking about? They need to stop this. And then I was watching today, I think on the Breakfast Club or something, that she admitted there's inconsistencies in her story.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, you ain't even have to say that. We knew you was lying. We know you lying. and Jay-Z, the way that Jay-Z handled it is like, I ain't even worried about her. Clearly, it's a lie. I'm going after the lawyer that is pretty much supporting this.
Yeah.
And I hope to God he make an example out that lawyer. because washing people up with lawsuits. But when they don't have nothing on you, they come with the most ridiculous thing.
Stuff. Yeah,
he raped a 13-year-old. Come on, man, superstar. He ain't never had to do no stuff like that. But I'll be frank. It's some stupid people out here, y'all. You know how many people out here probably believe that?
What were you saying, Bobby?
Go ahead, Bobby.
So, as a female, maybe this day and age, it's rare to hear what I'm about to tell you, but I am not a believe all women type of person. I don't. There are women who are manipulative. They act stupid. They want to get paid. I'm not going to pat you on the back and ruin some man's life because
Bobby, you're going to alienate yourself from a woman audience.
Look, I am out here to offend you. I am going to just straight offend you. Like, don't, because you know what? If you're going to, if you say that somebody raped you, typically there's got to be some sort of substantial proof for it. Right. There really does. If that was the case, don't bring it up, all these years later, and now it's a big deal. Like, no, hold on a second. I don't want to try to say like, oh well, all of a sudden, it's a big deal. I'm sure it was if it's true, even though it's probably not, because there's inconsistencies in your story. Like, what the hell were you doing around Jay-Z at 13?
13.
That's crazy, right?
What would bring you into that environment? I'm thinking to put you in that position. If anybody needs to be held liable, it's any type of parents or other adults who put you into that situation. You know what I mean? And I don't want to try to diminish anybody who's ever gone through that type of sexual trauma. But let's get real quick. There are so many people who have been imprisoned for wrongful charges, and I feel like those women who are out to destroy somebody's life for whatever reason they got going on, they need to be held accountable for that. I think the justice system needs to do better about holding those women accountable for not just lying on the stand, but ruining somebody else's life. You did. Yeah. You ruined somebody else's life. Whether Jay-Z did or did not do anything like that. Like, don't try to come out now because all this Diddy stuff is happening. Don't try to use that as a crutch.
And then when it don't work out, it just goes away.
That
makes me mad when women lie on men.
No repercussions to the false accuser. And then we got some feedback. Nomad said, "Don't believe everyone." That's Nomad on IG. And then Creative Native made a good point. But I got a fake ID though. There is that.
No, but that goes back to women being manipulative. We already know there's men that have been brought up on some trumped up charges because they're like, she told me she was 18. Well, she's 14. Well, no shit, she didn't have an ID. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, she lied. Yeah. May have slept with somebody who was a lot older than her and probably shouldn't have and regretted it. And rather than saying, "Hey, I made a mistake," no, he raped me. I just think that's way too easy, and there's got to be more to it than that. And we need to be doing
just the easy way out.
Be doing a better service to men. To somebody has to come in and be like, okay, he didn't know that, he was lied to. She needs to be held accountable for that.
Yeah. I mean, we teach our kids don't lie, right?
Yeah. But like to manipulate the system with something like that when there's real victims out there.
Yeah, exactly.
It makes us not be able to tell the difference when something real happens. So when Cassie comes out and say he did this to me, we like, it's a money grab. And then you see the tape of the whole Cassie situation. You go, he probably did do that to her. And then everybody start getting on you like, see, this does happen to women. We can't tell. Yeah. So a lot of them be lying, trying to wear the same. You ain't anybody rape, but her situation, that was a real situation. Now it's like the boy who cried wolf.
So I was about to say, everybody's out here crying wolf, and that truly diminishes the victims. That does.
Yeah,
you're just
wasting
time and holding up the system for people who really need help, need to seek justice.
That's sad. That's sad. Yeah. The girls who go home and try to wash it off after they have been through something like that.
Yeah.
A lot of people out there trying to wear that mask, they haven't been through that, and that's why they filing civil suits, not criminal suits. You know what I mean?
Good point.
They want some money
looking for a payout is all you're doing. Looking for a payout.
Yep. And then Nomad, he said a couple of things. Failure is on so many levels for that to happen. If it happened, And he also said the fake ID doesn't excuse the man, and that's crazy. I'm torn on that one, because if I'm out and about, right, and maybe you look young, because you can't tell these days, man. A 30-year-old, 15-year-old, like damn to 45, they put all this.
Look at me. I got a 17-year-old.
Like, you're the same age as your daughter. You look 17.
Thanks.
That man blew me away on the first podcast when you said that. I was like, the hell, you got a 17-year-old man? You must have had her when you were 5. Get out of here.
Hey, yo, I pick her up from school. You know, she go to high school.
Brother.
I pick her up from the school. They like, yo, your brother's cute. I like him. She like, that's my dad, you weirdo. And she'll tell me till I get to the car, man. I'll be sitting there like, man, I gotta grow a big old beard or something. I can't be looking like my daughter.
You got a little baby face over there, Daniel.
Yeah, I gotta grow. I'm telling you, man, I'm gonna go get a fake Rick Ross beard or something, because I can't be out here looking like a teenager, man. I don't like it. Don't nobody take you serious.
No, for real. Hey, the beard helped out though.
They're like, oh look, this kid thinks he has 2 master's degrees over here. Like,
yeah, like
you're not even old enough to go to college. Get out of here.
Yeah, get out of here.
I'm out here looking like I got Benjamin Button disease or something, man. Like,
That's
I need
funny,
something,
man. That's funny. So here's my thing about the whole Jay-Z thing, man, because it claimed it happened around 2000. Dude, he already had the hottest chick in the game wearing his chain. Beyonce.
Yep, he already had Beyonce.
What the hell can a 13-year-old do for someone that has Beyonce? Like, that room right there had you had me at Beyonce, man. Like, I'm not picking. I think to what y'all are saying, man, it's a money grab, man. Because if it was
for sure.
a legit, I would imagine that something would have been put out back then, right? And I understand, you know, sometimes, like you said, women who are just people, because it doesn't happen to just women, obviously, what we've been hearing in the Diddy case, right? Maybe if it's men, people may be embarrassed to come out. So I understand something like that happens too, but typically you should report a crime like instantly. If it really happened, you know what I mean? Let me see. Creative Native said he'll take Kelly over B. I mean, you know, it's hey, Kelly, she bad, but that's a whole different.
No comment. No, I can comment on that. I would too, man. I think they hype Beyonce up way too much, man. Way too much. I was looking at LMA pictures the other day, and I'll take a LMA probably before Beyonce.
Oh, LMA is hot, man. She got that English accent too. That's a whole nother episode though. But wrapping this up, I think to your point, man. I think Jay-Z, he addressed the head on, kind of like what we said about Trump, right? That tenacity. I'm like, oh, word, let's go. He was ready for.
He said, "Don't play with me. Don't play with me like that.
Play with me, man. Don't messing with that billionaire like that, man. Come on now, start seeing the hate. The hate. I think it's so much hate against Kendrick though. Here's my conspiracy theory: they trying to take out Jay-Z because Jay-Z is the one who put Kendrick in the Super Bowl. That's the Will bomb on that.
Yep. Politics as usual, like you said.
Nah, but definitely an unfortunate situation, man. And earlier, Creative Native said that this whole Diddy thing is a slippery slope, man. It's a sticky situation. I don't think that's the last of it. There may be more names coming out, unfortunately. Speaking of unfortunately, there was an unfortunate situation at Fort Liberty, formerly Fort Bragg. That's where I ended my career at in the Air Force. I was actually at Pope Army Airfield, but it's on Fort Liberty, Fayetteville. Shout out to Fayetteville, man. Shout out to North Carolina, Fayetteville, man. The home of J. Cole, man. I liked it out there actually, but so apparently,
was all right.
Say what now?
Fayetteville was all right when I was at Fort Bragg.
Man, I had a good time.
That's where my AIT was. Yeah, and I went to Pope Air Force too.
Yeah. It's a funny story about Pope, right? Because they said there was a really nice base back in the day. I remember we were doing PT and someone pointed to the wilderness. And they were like, yeah, man, back in the day, that wilderness you see used to be a golf course. And I'm like, made my heart drop, because if you ever been to an Air Force base and seen the golf courses, we prize ourselves on our golf courses. And I'm like, we let that go. Like you couldn't even tell. Like the wild took back over, man.
Dang. All that turf gone, huh?
Gone. Because they had me like that. You saying that used to be a golf course? That right there. That right.
Dang.
No, it was crazy. But no, so apparently there was an active shooter situation at Fort Liberty last week. When it was all said and done, there was a service member who actually had a weapon on him in the 82nd Airborne Division. Shout out to the 82nd Airborne. Hey,
yep.
All the way.
Uh-huh.
All the way for all the 82nd Airborne out there. So I saw that, man, and it reminded me of the last active shooter experience I had. I was actually stationed at Davis-Monthan in Tucson, Arizona. And I remember there was an active shooter situation there. And at the time, I was the ComSec manager. So if you ever done ComSec, I'm sure y'all have been involved with ComSec at some point.
Yeah, ComSec,
I was the ComSec manager.
I work ComSec now.
There you go.
I was too. I was ComSec manager.
So we got that vault, right? So
yes.
I mean, our active shooter plan was we go into the vault and we close it. You're not getting in there.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. We were in that vault. I never forget. It was right before lunch. And like right when we were getting ready to go for lunch, boom, active shooter alert went off, man. And we went in the vault, closed it. And it was crazy, man. It was crazy. We were in there for a few hours, man. It took me back to that when I saw this. Luckily, it doesn't seem like anyone was hurt. Someone's definitely maybe going to a court martial when it's all said and done for this. But I wanted to talk to y'all. Have y'all ever been in any active shooter situations?
One at Camp Bullis.
Really?
Yeah, there was a shooting that happened near Camp Bullis, and the suspect actually made it onto Camp Bullis somehow.
Oh,
and
wow.
So everybody was locked down for hours during an exercise, and we had to stay indoors. And at this time, we had were like the large dusty tents that we stayed in, where we had our talks set up and stuff. So it was hot as hell in there, and there was so many of us stuffed in there, so none of us could be outside. And I remember I had to open up this one small area because we had a female, and she was having trouble using, like, holding her pee. Oh man, that sucked. And so we ended up they ended up letting her kind of like stick her butt out, but pee like in this 80-ounce cup. I swear she filled that thing up. I swear she did.
You gotta go, man.
She was in pain. She was crying and stuff because they wouldn't let nobody else use the restroom because we had to stay where we were.
Oh, it was that bad.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we had to. Nobody could be outside at all. Like nobody under direct order.
No, that's not funny at all. That's not funny at all.
Wrong thing. That ain't funny.
Yeah, we out walking around. That's why I said we had to stay in there, and it was getting hot. Our generators went out, so there's no AC, and we were all just stuck in there together.
That sounds miserable. Ooh,
yeah.
No. John, you don't want to.
God bless her. God bless her. God bless her.
Yeah, man. Goodness gracious.
That's
and there was only like 3 or 4 females in there, so I ended up staying with her, and we got everybody moved to just one tent. So she and I stayed in this one area, and she was able to stick her butt out, and I tried to like hold the tent, but also like hold her up, hang on to me at the same time while she was like peeing and stuff. We out here being battle buddies to people.
I was thinking that, man. That's the hell of a way to be a battle buddy. You do what you got to do, man. For real.
It's the Army, man.
Yeah,
I got some stories too. I won't tell them on here.
Do you got any active shooter experience to share?
Not in the military. I was fortunate enough to be stationed overseas, Hawaii and Germany. Ain't really no guns in Germany. Not really guns in Hawaii unless they clear you to take your guns over there. Fort Drum, New York in general has strict gun laws, so the likelihood of something like that happening in New York might be kind of slim as opposed to if you were stationed in Fort Hood, Texas, where everybody got guns. So no, I've always heard about the active shooter things. I remember one happened in Florida. Psychiatrist killed some folks on base or whatever. It's one of the biggest ones.
I remember that.
I think it was Florida.
I remember that. It was a major.
No,
it was a major, yeah.
Okay, So that was Major Hassan, and that
Major
was
Hassan. There we go.
That was at Fort Hood. Yes, it was at Fort Hood because I was stationed there during all of that.
What year was that? Do you remember?
Like 2011, 2012.
So that's what happened. I was living in Florida at the time where that happened.
From deployment or something, or they were just about to leave on a deployment, and he had gotten radicalized.
And stuff.
13 service members, I think. Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah, that's crazy, man. That's crazy.
Apart from that, I haven't experienced no actual active shooter situations. It was always like bombs. Hey, there's a bomb threat, you know, and they shut down the base and all of that. Somebody leave a backpack in the Burger King on post or something.
Wow.
Boom, they shut everything down until they get it cleared and stuff. But that was it. No active shooter situations for me. Thank God, because that could happen to any of us at any time. So
no, for real. And we got some comments on IG. Creative Native asked, the street situations count. Hey, we'll take it. I mean, and then Dr. Poole said he's been shot at before on Crenshaw and Rosecrans at the rallies. That happens. Actually, I go back with some of the folks that's on IG showing love, especially Dr. Poole. There was one time someone tried to rob us at gunpoint. I don't know if you remember that, Dr. Poole. Out there, we was in Hawthorne actually, on Rosecrans. I think we were on Rosecrans and something, man. I forget where, but it's that damn Rosecrans, man. But nowadays we see spaceships on Rosecrans. So
damn, Indian Red Boy got murdered in Hawthorne.
Who? I don't even know who that is.
Indian Red Boy. He whacked out Nipsey's mural.
Oh
yeah, so if you go look it up, you'll see. Like, you said Hawthorne. That's the first thing that said Hawthorne. What you doing over there?
Oh yeah. Yep. Dr. Poole said he remembered that he threw his wallet to me. Yeah, it's LA. So we've been. I've been shot at before. It's just going to parties, man. Hey, so for anyone that's on IG, some LA-ish right here. Back in the 90s, man, when walking was like serious, like Crip walking, B walking. You go to a house party, and they throw on DJ Quick. They start walking. It's time to go, cause it never failed. After they start Crip walking or blood walking, man, there's some other hoods that get offended.
You know what's coming?
The shots they start firing, man. There's been plenty of times we like it's time to go, or maybe we weren't lucky enough to leave before the shots fired. So you hear the shots, hey, let's go. Hey. That's happened plenty of times.
And I heard they just shoot in LA. Like, you drive down the block, the wrong street, somebody get to dumping at your car. I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah, I don't know.
Never seen that car before.
I don't know if it's still that bad. I need my LA folks that are still there to chime in on that. But it was in the 90s, in the 80s and the 90s. It sure was. In certain places you just don't go. There
was an active shooter situation today in Madison, Wisconsin, at a private school. A 17-year-old girl killed another teenager and a teacher.
What? A girl?
I think like 7 got injured or something like that.
Yep, she killed another teenager and a teacher. Madison, Wisconsin today.
Condolences to the families out there, man. We need to have her back, man.
What mental health issues she was going through, but it is a week before Christmas. Like, this is not something that should be in the news.
Nah.
We got girls out here bugging like that.
Yeah. That's crazy. I'm sure
more, I'm sure right now any news articles are coming out about it. It's going to be limited. They still need to do an investigation. That's why I'm not saying what else, nobody's names or anything other than it was a 17-year-old girl.
So I will say this, man. Unfortunately, it's the world we live in, right? We get active shooter training in the military. And I think we're at a point to where I would say every organization should have some type of active shooter training, right? So that way people know what to do, right? Especially in the schools. Unfortunately, it is what it is. You gotta know what to do. Unfortunately, I am from LA, so we knew what to do. I mean, there's been situations where someone had guns at schools and stuff when they put us on lockdown and told us to get down under the desk and stuff. So unfortunately, we were there. Where no matter what type of business you're in, service you're in, you need to have a plan, man, because it's just it's the unfortunate world we live in, man. It's reality. So I would much rather people know what to do and stay alive, man. That's the goal. Let me see. Creative Native said once leaving a house party, had a good friend find a weapon and drop it, and it hit another friend. That's some B Rabbit stuff right there. The heck. So
you said it hit another friend. You just dropping a gun.
The gun. I'm assuming it went off.
Guns don't go off.
Say what?
So I've never. I think that's. I don't know. You have to pull a trigger in order for a gun to go off. You don't just drop it, load it, and it just magically fires.
See, you're talking about legit weapons, ma'am. You're talking about legit weapons. I don't know. When people, he said it's a revolver, but I mean, you talking about guns that are accurately inspected. I don't know if, because it's LA, we have tight gun laws in LA too. The guns that they have out there, they weren't bought legally. I'll tell you that right now.
Switches. They got switches on them things.
Yeah, they be modifying these weapons, man.
Okay. I was about to say anything like there's no way like scientifically for that to happen to like a normal weapon that we would use. Now, if they've got all sorts of modifications, anything like, anything.
These aren't like, if you go get it the regular way and have what's legal and was cleared for the streets, yes. But again, LA is similar to New York. It's not easy to just get a weapon like that. You got it on the black market. Unfortunately. So speaking of black markets, man, there's one black market that went down last week. Facebook has its own marketplace and stuff. You could get just almost everything on there, but not last week. That thing went down. Over 100,000 people were affected with that outage, and that outage hit IG, WhatsApp, and of course Facebook, right? I remember because Corey had hit us right when it was happening, and when he told us it was happening, I was like, oh, that's why, because I was trying to post one of our videos. It was not working. I kept getting an error, and I'm over here thinking it's my phone. I'm over here cussing out T-Mobile. This time.
Not even T-Mobile.
This time.
Zuckerberg.
So, but what I thought about that, man, was I know a lot of companies rely on like social media, Facebook. They got Facebook stores, the market, stuff like that. They might be using that if they got food trucks and stuff like that. So I couldn't help but to think all the small business owners that felt that impact for that moment that Facebook was out, man. What y'all think about that?
Yeah, I mean, that's tough. Today, this whole digital world that we live in, everything is digital. So your marketing is all digital. You almost can't market nothing without Instagram, Facebook pages and stuff like that. So when that stuff goes out, I mean, I guess kind of gotta regress and go back to the old-fashioned way. Get out there with a sign on a corner or something like that.
Good point. Good point. Yeah,
we got haircuts over here, y'all. You know what I mean? That's all you can do. So don't put all your eggs in one basket. I think it's important to find different different marketing strategies. Just
good point, man.
These platforms the whole business thing when it comes to that is so convoluted now that like at any point when they strip that away from you, now you don't have a backup plan on how you're gonna get your message out, get your business out there, and stay known, stay relevant, and build clientele. So just be careful.
Excellent point. What's your thoughts on that, Bobby? Good point.
I'm obviously very, very active on my Facebook. I'm very active on Facebook Marketplace. I actually am selling a 2007 Patriotic Blue Corvette if you're in the San Antonio area and wanting a new vehicle. I am selling that, but I also bought a vehicle last week through Facebook Marketplace. So
oh, nice, you got one.
Look, we're not even going to discuss that right now.
Seem a little agitated.
I am very. That's what he asked me how I was doing earlier, and I just told him like I've been very overwhelmed. Very overwhelmed.
Ben James B on IG said he'll buy. We might need to connect y'all. He might be interested in that Corvette, man. Corvette, right?
It is a Corvette.
Yeah.
77,000 miles on it, my friend.
That's why networking is important, right there.
Hey, holla at her right there. Her handle's right there. At Bobby.Lopez.5 on IG. Hit it. If you for real, hit her up. He said yes, double down. We might be able to make this happen. Hey, shout out to
you. Friendly discount for tuning into the show for sure. For sure.
Yes. Hey,
willing deal, but
discount. There you go. Hey.
I mean, we've talked about this before. There's no reason why Facebook should be having blackouts anyways if they're pushing out, your typical security updates is to prevent any of those glitches from happening to begin with.
Yeah.
So somebody somewhere dropped a little bomb with Facebook going out. A lot of people rely on it. You're posting stuff. You're making business decisions and everything. And I do think that, Daniel, you're correct that people need to find other marketing strategies versus the typical convoluted ones that we're using right now via social media. However, it is free. It is free. That's free. That's free marketing. And everybody looking to save a nickel, including me. So
I mean, everybody wants a good deal.
Everybody wants a good deal. So using social media for marketing, I think it's smart. I do think there should be other avenues, especially if you're a business owner and you're really trying to put, your business out there and you want to make money. At the end of the day, it's going to cost you money to make some. So you got to be willing to put a little bit of that dinero forward so you can get a return on your investment.
Yep. I agree. I agree with both of y'all, man. Sometimes the old tactics are the best tactics, right? Like you said, put the sign out, man. You go back old school. Trump had signs everywhere that helped him get what he got. You know what I'm saying? You got to have a multi-layered approach, right? A multiple prong attack, if you will. Yes, we live in a digital age, so you need it, right? But no one said you can't have your email list, right? No one said not to have your own website. You should have your own website anyway, right? Signs, flyers, word of mouth. You know what I mean? Like we came back. Someone said earlier about the parties we used to go to, flyers, handing out flyers, right? There's been plenty of times I've been out just pounding that pavement, handing out flyers. Corey said we used to sell candy, man. We used to literally be outside the grocery store selling candy when we had to get new track uniforms and stuff. We had to help the school make money for that, Old school, baby. There's nothing like that face-to-face interaction, man. So good opportunity to like fall back. Maybe if you got a good email list, you nurturing your customers, making sure they're good. Facebook comes out, maybe do a blast out. Hey, Facebook is out. Want to make sure you guys are good. If you need anything from me, you can still reach me for my number, email, etc. So great opportunities to let your customers know, hey, I'm still here, regardless of Facebook. Good point, y'all.
Yeah, in the customer experience world, we would call that touching base. You want to touch base with those customers and just do a quick check-in and follow up because you don't know since the last time you've seen or talked to them how their life has changed and how it may lead you to another job down the line and stuff. And maybe even one of the things that my husband and I do, we have offered, an incentive to giving us referrals. So we have a friend of ours who actually got us a fairly large job about a month ago and stuff. And so the check for that should be coming in tomorrow or the next day. And he's actually getting a little cut of that too, to make sure that we hook up people who are hooking us up, So think about that too. Provide incentives for referrals and stuff. Cause you got to spend a little money to make money. And so, it's Christmas. Throw a little cash their way. Let them know.
There you go. Hey, you know what? That now I got to come with the quotes, man. A rising tide lifts all ships, man. You got to help me, and I help you. Scratch my back, I scratch yours. Quid pro quo, man. Yeah. So we still on the topic of social media, man. TikTok. It's been a while since we've given our audience an update on TikTok. We started this platform talking about TikTok, because I wanted it gone. Corey wants to keep it because he actually part of his business. He leverages TikTok. But it's as of right now, it is official. January 19th, it's a wrap. They will have to pull the app from the Google store, from the Apple store, January 19th, unless something changes. They have the option to go to Supreme Court. So it is if they take it to the Supreme Court, it's in those judges' hands. But as of right now, January 19th. It's a wrap, which I'm here for it. I've been saying take down TikTok for 3 years now. I don't like it. We got Intel people, we got cybersecurity people, we got veterans all around the world. I don't like it. I do not like it.
We've talked about this. I'm not an avid user of TikTok. We know what companies own it, and that the data that they've been fishing for is merely to be used against the United States citizens, and I don't think it should have been approved to be used here to begin with. So, I'm not a supporter of TikTok either. So, no.
What's your take on that, Daniel?
Yeah, man, pretty much the same thing. Like, I don't really see too much positive to come out of TikTok. Especially my daughter sitting on her bed. I learned a new term today called bedrock. I didn't know what that actually meant.
Educators. I'm old. I don't know that.
That's where you don't leave your bed.
Bedrock.
You don't leave your bed.
Is that like the new version of the couch potato?
Yes.
Okay.
But with your bed.
Okay.
So, like, I learned that term today where, like, kids today, they just sit on their bed. They do everything from their bed. They got their laptop with them in their bed. They got their phone with them in their bed. Most of the times it's the phone, and just scrolling through TikTok. And
good point.
What information are you really getting out of that? I'm glad I took my daughter's phone. She's reading a lot more now.
Good.
She's reading the important books that I'm reading. You understand what I'm saying? You can change the world and change a lot of things just by changing perspective if you get the information. Much of the information is in a book. It ain't on YouTube. It ain't on TikTok. So my personal opinion, the hell with these apps. I don't care about this digital footprint. I don't care about these made up, pieced together personalities that people put out there on Instagram. And I meet you in real life. You ain't that. It's all fake. Get it up out of here, man. The world will be a better place without it. That's just what the heck I think, So good for TikTok. Get out of here with that, man.
I'm with that. Now I will say this. I'm just gonna cap it off with this because news you could use, right? So again, back to those small business owners who use TikTok to stay in contact with their customers, build their customer base, start pivoting now, because if you're leveraging TikTok for your business, and like you said, you putting all your eggs in one basket and it goes away, it's gonna be a tough time, man. Pivot now. Get your own website, get that mailing list, get some flyers, get some business cards, get some signs, leverage Facebook, Instagram, other sites, right? Because I would hate for your business to take a slump and take a major hit because you put everything on TikTok, man. Start that pivot now, for real.
And I support, like tailoring your business to the psychology of people and how your customers' minds work. That goes a long way with this too. But get up off them platforms and get out there and really start marketing the old-fashioned way, and you'll be all right.
Dr. Poole made a good point. TikTok leaves and 2 more will pop up in a couple of weeks. Excellent point. To that. And Creative Native says something too. They won't turn over those Chinese servers. They won't. Nor will they sell the algorithm. Because that was a topic of discussion too, that algorithm. And I believe they will not let that algorithm go, because when our folks, like who you see here in this screen, the Intel cybersecurity folks, get to picking that algorithm apart, we can see just how nefarious they really were. Right?
Yeah.
Get some of our U.S. military developers. Shout out to all the DevSecOps folks out there. Come on now.
Hey, that's me too.
There you guys see. They will be able to tell our U.S. citizens just how bad and evil that app was. That's why they won't let that algorithm go. So I mean, they may sell like the framework, but that algorithm isn't coming because that has all the secrets right there, man.
Yeah,
but
it's gonna be like cracking Enigma.
Yeah,
it's like cracking Enigma. When they cracked Enigma, I think it might have been the Second World War, whatever, with Hitler and all that.
It was World War II when they were able to identify through cryptography what the next move the Germans were going to make, and so the U.S. was very strategic on the types of attacks that were being done, because they couldn't let the Germans know at the time that they knew what was going on. And so they unfortunately had to.
They could have saved people, but they could have either prolonged the war or lost the war. So a lot of lives got lost on that, but the greater good in it is that they won the war and ended everything. Bittersweet right there.
If you haven't seen that movie and you don't know what Daniel's talking about, y'all, and you can hear me, go and check out that movie. Go see it.
What's the movie?
Imitation Game? Are you talking about?
The Imitation Game.
I'm gonna write that down. I want to go see that.
Imitation Game.
I studied it long before I saw the movie, and then I saw the movie. It was like, this is all right.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta watch that.
I like movies that are based on like factual history.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Makes the movie better.
And back to Dr. Poole's point, man, he's right. Mm-hmm. I just hope that we scrutinize these apps better. And that's why I got the governance hat on right now, because the governance, that's what's gonna do it, right? We need better governance to make sure we can't just put any type keeping it real, to make sure China can't just be putting any app on these platforms, man. I'm keeping it really real, man. I'm keeping it a buck. We got to stop that, man. We need better, stronger cyber governance, man. I know they're working on the Cybersecurity Act of 2023. I just got a notification. We're waiting on the Senate to do their job with that. So I hope that our leaders that we voted in are having those discussions, man. That's what we need, Dr. Poole. We need better governance and cyber policies to stop that. It's just one of those things, right? We didn't think about it. This world moves so fast, and our lawmakers just didn't think about it.
They worried about Project 2025. That's what they worry about.
Oh man, hey, speaking of conspiracies and stuff, someone brought it up on IG. So the next thing, man, and I don't know if China's behind this either, we got to talk about those suspicious ass drones, man. What's going on with that, Bobby?
Yeah, so kind of this segment, that we like to call like let's talk about it. Let's talk about these drones and what that looks like. So let's be realistic. We're gonna take off this little tinfoil hat for a second, because I do have some there are times where I do have some conspiracy theories about some things that I see. However, this is not one. So let me lay to rest any type of any type of rumors that this is aliens or anything, because it ain't nothing like that. So right now on the East Coast of the United States, there have been high spikes in radioactive waves, indicating that there may be something nuclear underneath the ground. And because of that, these drones have been sent up specifically with lasers on them to detect where this is coming from. I think at the last few days, there's been over like 3,000 sightings of these drones, but they are merely there, even though the CIA and the Department of Homeland Security saying they don't know whose they are. Yes, they do. They're ours. They're ours, and they're looking for something. They just don't want people. They don't want people to know, because again, back at what we were talking about earlier, our government's a little bit shady, but you know what? They have to stay 100 steps ahead of anybody here in the United States, because they got things happening and they can't have people messing up our operations, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the truth of it. The government don't tell us. Honestly, you don't need to know. What the hell would you do with that information anyways? You don't need to know. You really don't.
Sell it to China.
And
so Edward Snowden.
There's a whole reason why our government is shady, and working for the government and doing like ComSec operations. Like from this perspective, I get it. You don't want this information to be in the wrong hands to begin with. You don't need to know. You don't need to know. So the Department of Homeland Security and everybody playing games, but there are drones. They are looking for something.
Okay, so there you go, IG, because they were asking about it. That's us. And you said to say that again. Why are we sending those drones out?
There have been large spikes in radioactive waves, indicating that there may be some sort of nuclear warhead they believe is actually underground right now. Not sure how or why it's there on the East Coast, but typically there's large amounts of radon and radium being detected that has to do with the nuclear weapon that they believe. And because New Jersey doesn't sit far from DC, they are doing their due diligence to go and try to identify it. That's what these lasers are doing that are on top of these drones and stuff. So don't shoot the drones down. They're doing a job. Let them do their job. All right.
Let them do their job. And that goes back to what you said, Daniel, about Americans. We have guns. Like don't shoot them down, man.
Don't shoot them down. Don't shoot the drones down, bro.
Creative Data said, "Nah, aliens sound a lot better."
That's what I was thinking. I ain't gonna lie. It could be some preemptive attack waiting or invasion coming this way with the drones. But I
You
don't
know,
know.
this whole issue happening with the aliens and more things coming about about UFOs and stuff. If you don't think it's interesting that the government's like, hey, look over here, but they got something else happening over here, you got to be smart to what's happening. There's some things happening coming out there. Like, this is a distraction. They want you to be focused over here, but they got the real game happening back here. You got to be smart, be resilient, discipline, and maintain situational awareness when it comes to those types of things.
No, 100%.
LeBron got that $90 million contract.
You said what?
Basketball.
You said LeBron?
I said that's why he got $90 million contract.
Distraction.
Dribble a basketball, you distracted. Like, I heard somebody say it. The emperors used to have a circus. I think it was the emperors would have the circus or whatever, and like kind of. I ain't gonna go too deep into that. It's all good.
Hey, you had me in. I was into it. I was like, okay.
I'm about to open up a whole new. But they got the circus and all that for entertainment. Back then it used to be like horse and carriage and all this other kind of stuff, and then to distract the entire society. Essentially, from what the emperor was actually attempting to execute of his agenda. So
that's actually pretty smart. That's actually pretty smart.
It's a simple Trojan horse type of a trick.
Yeah. She said Trojan horse.
Hey, it makes sense. I never would have thought about that, man. But it makes complete sense because I'm like, I get excited when the circus comes to town, but maybe the circus is coming to town because like city council needs you to be distracted for a minute, huh?
Right.
See what you're doing to me, Bobby?
You got to be entertained throughout all of this mess. I think that's the point they're trying to,
that's crazy.
Don't worry about Project 2025. Worry about Puff Daddy.
What's coming, so you're focused on what happened versus what's actually coming.
What's actually coming,
yeah. So speaking of what's coming, we're gonna switch it up, and this is going to end the show right here. Now, this is a very interesting conversation. It's come up through different phases of my life, and I'm gonna tell you, when I first heard this conversation, I was too young, immature. I was not mature enough to understand any of the talking points about this, but we're gonna talk. We're gonna go ahead and do it, man. We gotta talk about reparations, man. This was something Daniel wanted to bring to the table. Open us up. Why did you want to talk about reparations on tonight's show?
There's really not I wouldn't say priority, but really no conversation around that. And I just think it's really interesting that one particular group of people singled out and pretty much disenfranchised, whether it be through redlining or whether it be, we went through Jim Crow and all of that stuff. I didn't, but ancestors and all of that stuff went through all of that crazy stuff. And it still even the effects of it still exist, even all the way in 2024, and doesn't seem like anything is going to be done about it. I personally, I think that if a particular group of people, doesn't have to be a group of people or whatever, but if they have been subjected to harsh treatment and all this other stuff, and going forward, the way that you can fix that is through compensation. I'll give you an example. We get VA checks because of what the military did to us. That's a very simple example. So if you can understand that, how could you not understand this particular group of people that went through all of this stuff? Like, they put laws in place so that this particular group of people cannot get ahead. They took the fathers out of the household. So today you got a generation of soft men and hard women. We talk about the trickle effect of all of this happened. And it's only happened to this one particular group of people who, if you ask me personally, I said hit it right on the head. If you ask me personally, that particular group of people literally is the only reason why any type of equality in America exists. Any type of equality. People that actually fought and made it possible for, I can use examples, LGBTQ, to say, hey, we want equal rights. Or when the people from other countries come over here and seek asylum and they say, hey, I want equal rights. That particular group of people opened up that door and fought to make that possible for everybody. And the only thing they wanted was basic rights, basic human rights themselves too, you know? And so I just think they deserve to be compensated in some sort of way, some sort of fashion. Don't give them a bunch of money because everybody gonna go out and buy a bunch of rims and do stupid stuff like that. But if you get these people say, hey, we're gonna cut the taxes and cut this and cut that in order for you to be able to afford a home, buy yourself a home, and you can pass that down to your kids, and that right there can shift a lot of our issues, social issues in this doggone country. In the words of Dave Chappelle, who said, if you could fix a black man's problems, this country would have no problems. I do believe that. I do believe that because I can't even imagine this country without black people. Plain and simple. I can't imagine it.
Good point.
I can't imagine it. It'll look like Europe around this damn. I can't imagine it, dog. Like, you know what I mean? So I just think that, you know, fixing that, America will never, ever be truly home of the brave, land of the free, and what we aspire to be until we do something about that one particular sin that has had a trickle effect over the past 300-400 years. Straight up.
No, good point. Good point. And you got some comments here. Dr. Pooh said there are a lot of cultures that want reparations, like Native Americans, Hispanics, Jews. Excellent point. Excellent point. And to that point, because that's what I want to start with, right? It's kind of, you said it, right? Compensation. Veteran, right? I have a lot of permanent injuries because of my military service, and I do get compensated. I go and I use some of that compensation. I go to the chiropractor every week, or else I wouldn't be able to move if I don't go to the chiropractor every week, right? I needed help, just so I can live a somewhat regular life, right? And again, it's because of, you know, my service. I would have a regular neck and I could turn it all the way around if it wasn't for that. So fortunately, I am being compensated for some of the injuries I sustained being in the military. But to Donald's point, because I know that's always a talking point, right? To, well, what about this group? How come this group doesn't get it? How come that group doesn't? I mean, through the history of our nation, the Native Americans got, you know, reservations. As a compensation, hey, well, we took the rest of your land. We'll give you this, right? The land we don't want, but it got something, right? And probably one of the more recent ones was Japanese Americans, right?
Yeah.
A very unfortunate thing happened to them during World War II, right? In true American spirit, we have a bad history and tendency to be racist, right? It was not the Japanese Americans' fault that we entered World War II, but they got treated like so, right? And got put into the internment camps, right? So, however, the Civil Liberties Act of 1988 granted a $20,000 reparation to the survivors of that, right? So it was about what was the numbers on that? Let me look that up. Let me see. It was all the survivors. How many of them? I think it was what, 1.6 billion.
It was a lot.
It was a lot.
A billion? Sheesh.
Yeah, it was in the billions. It was in the billions. Let me see. Tuskegee, I didn't get those numbers, but they did get, so the survivors of that, they did get 20,000, and I want to say it was upwards of like 80,000, and I think it was like 1.6 billion that was allocated for that. So, and again, it was compensation, right? It was compensation for, hey, we're sorry, we probably shouldn't have put you in those internment camps. Here's $20,000 for your problems, right? And that's key right there, right? Because remember, the first time I heard these reparation conversations, I didn't have the knowledge I have now. It comes down to building wealth, having some type of wealth, and not wealth in a sense of, hey, I want to be rich and get rims and stuff like you said, right? It's having the resources to build stuff for your family, have stuff for your family, having protection for your family, right?
We talking about generations.
Generational.
Ain't even about me. I'm talking 3 generations down the line. My daughter's kids.
And I was having a discussion with someone, right? Like, you have someone like a Bill Gates, right? He was able to start Microsoft, and I mean, you know who Bill Gates is and how rich he is, right? But he didn't start from scratch. he had access to resources, and that's really what it comes down to, is having access to resources.
Absolutely.
It's a lot easier to build something and have something for your village, your family, your crew, whatever you call it, right? If you have access to resources. And the best way to get access to resources is through real estate. Having real estate, right? Because through real estate, you can get something that's called equity, right? With equity, you can leverage that, maybe start a business, right? That can build even more, maybe invest it in different investment vehicles, right? Cryptocurrency, IRAs, life, whole term life insurances that build cash value, right? Like all these things are things that are long term, right? That you can eventually put into a trust, right? And it can continue to grow. And that's how you build generational wealth that can keep on going, right? We've never had access to that. We're getting access to that now, right? Because of the digital era, it bridged the gap of information we didn't have, right? Like I'm learning about trust now. And the more I learn about the trust, I'm like, that's how they did it. Yep. That's how they did it, yep. Right? Because when they talk about old money, right? Is that old money? I hate to say it, it's slave money, right? Right. Those that have it, right? The majority of the wealth, that wealth came from the back of slaves. Those families put that money in trust. Once it's in a trust, nobody can touch it. The government can't even touch it. And it just carries over. So now someone that's a descendant of that family today, they can tap into that trust, go start a business, go to college without getting the debt of a college loan, right? That may prevent them from buying a house, right? They can buy a car cash, right? And not have a rinky-dinky bucket. You know what I mean? That's really what it comes down to, with no interest too, right? So what's that? Creative Native said 20,000 in those times is like 2 million now. Exactly, right? Inflation and stuff like that. And if you invested compound interest, stuff like that, that's all we're asking for. You know what I mean? I think when it really comes down to it, I've heard people say, oh, you're using it as an excuse, you're looking for a handout. No, we're not. We're just asking for what the Native Americans got. They got something. What the Japanese got, they got something, right? To compensate them for the damage that was done to them, just like disabled veterans get compensated for the damage done to us. And I think
that's utopia. That's utopia, man.
I think it's just being fair, man. I really think it's truly just being fair, because a lot of people, I don't think, realize the long-standing damage and the ripple effects that has been done, right? What you think about that, Bobby? I see some thoughts building up there. Let's talk about it.
I got a lot of thoughts. Let's talk about this. So I hear what you're saying. I do. I hear you. I get the idea of how generations, that can cause like long-term negative effects and stuff down the line of generations. But we use the word slaves, and everybody assumes and comes back to just a skin color, when it's not a skin color issue. This really isn't. There were indentured servants that were seen below others of all different backgrounds, right? So how are we going to determine who is going to pay for what? Let's say, Daniel, just because you and I are on here, let's say you came from a family of slaves, but I don't come from a family of slave owners. So why would I pay for something that I didn't have anything to do with? You know, we can't just go based on somebody's skin color and make that assumption, because let's say, Daniel, your great-great-grandfather immigrated here from, let's just say, another nation. So he had nothing to do with slavery, but yet he came here. How are we going to determine who gets what? Because we can't go based off of skin color. How are we going to determine that? How do we not know that I came from a family of slaves? You can't look at somebody's skin color and assume that, because nowadays, we're so mixed. We're a race of mutts. Everybody looks at the outside but nobody looks at the inner part. You don't know this, but I'm like 76% Irish. I'm like 8% Italian. I'm 3%.
I'm mostly Irish.
You know what I mean? Like I see, and we know that Irish people were also indentured servants as well. So who gets to determine that? You know,
well,
and indentured servants were servants.
Go ahead.
They were servants. They were servants for something that they were earning something as well too, like citizenship. So they were servants for a certain amount of time,
and they came on their own free will. There's a difference too. They chose to come. We didn't. I
don't even speak about slavery because people try to talk about that. I don't care about that. Slavery is something that existed all over the world, whatever. I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to be able to fix with money what happened hundreds of years ago. We know what's wrong, and we should never go back to that again. Slavery will never go away. It's all around the world right now. It's a very common factor. It's not here.
We're just talking like compensation, and what I know is they're very selective. To say that we can't do that, that's a lie. I was in the military for 11 years, long enough to know that the government can do whatever they want to do.
They can do whatever
they want to do.
Good point. But Bobby has a point, though. She has a point. There has to be a method to the madness, and I think the question is the how, right? How does that happen? So
who gets it? Who truly gets it? Who pays for it? Where does that come from?
And so my question is, how did they figure that out with the Japanese American? You know what I mean? Because it was $1.6 billion. It was $1.6 billion that was paid out, and that's back then. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, how much would that be now? You know what I mean?
Would they have to prove? Would they have to prove that grandfather sat in internment camp and was treated in a certain manner? Like how would you prove that and be able to determine who gets what?
And I think like there's smarter people that can figure that out, right? I mean, they figured it out with the Japanese, right? Like
they study this stuff, they know.
Yeah, they know it. Like, how did they figure it out with the Japanese Americans to get them the $1.6 billion? Maybe start there, right? We have proof of concept. Use the proof of concept, and you were able to help the Japanese American be compensated. Maybe build from that framework and go from there, right? To where it would only be right if you could prove lineage to a slave family that was enslaved. That's the right thing to do. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I don't think it's an easy overnight answer. And honestly, maybe it doesn't have to be in the form of cash. And actually, there's actually some states that are actually doing it. They're working on it.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, could this be in the form of, like you said, access to resources? Because that's the best way that anybody's going to be able to move forward from trauma. It's not necessarily, financial compensation, but access to better resources for sure. I know with, the Civil Rights Act and affirmative action and stuff, different minorities have been granted access to like college institutions where others may not have, even if they weren't performing at a higher level, but they were granted based off of the color of their skin. And so they've got access to resources to be able to be smart and get out there. There's so many successful Black people who can tell you too, like their stories of struggle and sacrifice and how they got to where they were and stuff. And it is possible, but Daniel, you and Geronimo are two people who chose different paths. Everything comes down to a choice. Regardless of what happens in your past, you can choose your path forward. You don't got to live back there, and you can make it better for you and your daughter and your future family and stuff. And so that's all you can do is focus on the future and not necessarily what happened on the past. Learn from it. But
because the way that I grew up in those four walls known as Buffalo, New York, I see what redlining actually did. So like access to resources.
Explain what redlining is, because some folks may not know what redlining is, especially if it didn't impact you.
Yeah, they pretty much, banks would pretty much use I guess you say like a red marker or whatever, and they'll pretty much outline certain areas and neighborhoods and regions that you would deny Black people loans to based on where they live. So even though one person lives over here, there's an invisible line, and another person lives over here, they might be separated by a block. This person goes to a wealthy school, wealthy district and all of that. But this person right here is deprived of books and deprived of this and the other resources, et cetera, all based on the fact that they don't have access to the same level of wealth and resources that this person over here does. That still happens today. That still happens today. And it's
where people get
maddening to
denied
me.
loans because of where they live.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's taking on a new form. It's taking on a new form. And we were talking about this earlier, right? Because back then, there were laws that allowed exactly what Daniel was talking about. You don't hear much of it.
Metrics at some point, if you don't mind providing them to me, I'd like to see what that looks like. Because that's got to be hella wrong. But I'd like to know if that's truly happening.
Yeah, I mean, I like proof in the pudding, right? So it's funny. I knew we were going to talk about this, and so like when I drive to work in the morning, I work downtown, right? We work downtown, Daniel, and I drive to the east side to get downtown. You can see it because like I'm always looking around and being observant, and I'm getting deeper and deeper into real estate, right? And the more I get into real estate, I'm just looking around. I'm like, man, why is the east side so bad? Like it's like night and day. Let's take like, so I'll compare and contrast, right? Compare the east side San Antonio with Stone Oak, night and day. Why?
Oh yeah, absolutely, night and day.
Why? I always like to ask the questions.
We know why. We know why. And people are very selective on what they want to pay attention to. I watch people make sense when we have all other conversations everywhere I go, but they make the most sense in the world. You start talking about this, they act like they don't understand. They act like they maybe it needs to happen to them. Maybe that's what needs to happen, because I've seen something happen to somebody that happened to me. They were so arrogant until it happened to them, and they're humble. And they said, this is what you do? Yes, that's what I deal with, sir. That's what I deal with.
The difference in night and day is going to be there's different culture. There's different culture on the east side than there is in Stone Oak.
But how did that culture get there? Like, let's get to the nitty gritty. I mean, for those that never lived in San Antonio,
Black people live in Stone Oak.
Divide up San Antonio, how San Antonio works. Go ahead.
The east side of San Antonio is what they say is mostly Black population, right? And I found it curious that it's not much different than the Nickerson Gardens in Watts, California, right? TDE just had their holiday special where they do a fundraiser in the Nickerson Gardens in Watts, right? Where they have people to get into the concert. You get to see Kendrick Lamar and all these other artists, but you have to bring something to help a family in those projects there, right? To get in. But the question is, how did all those folks end up in the projects? Mostly Black and brown people, right, out there. Like it's there and it's evident, right? It's why are you here is the main question, right? Like let's get all BS to the side. How come some of those families aren't living in Stone Oak, right? So different cultures, yes, because every group, every village has their own different cultures. But the question is, why is this group of people here stuck in poverty? Because when I drive through the east side, I see a lot of poverty. You know what I'm saying? And poverty comes from not having access to resources. You know what I'm saying? And you made up
some of it might even come from just complacency. When people are used to something, they'll just stay there because they're comfortable in it.
I hear what you're saying, because I come from an environment like the east side, right, of San Antonio. And you made a very excellent point. You said that Daniel and I we figured it out, right, when we got in better situations. But look what we had to do.
All I did was join the military.
I joined the military. I had to
put nothing out.
I had to put my life.
Join the military.
Daniel, did you grow up here in San Antonio?
No,
right?
Buffalo.
You grew up in Buffalo, right? Okay, so I grew up here in San Antonio. On the southeast side and stuff. So I went to school on the east side of San Antonio. There was like 12 white people, and I went to an all-black school and stuff, which was a huge culture shock to me because people hated me for absolutely no freaking reason. I had done nothing wrong and people hated me. So I was bullied very heavily in school and stuff. So it definitely is obviously a different perspective when you're coming at it from like that. But I get it. I think that there are people who want to stay in that culture, and then there are some people who are like, no, this ain't for me. I'm out. I'm done. This ain't for me.
I don't think, to be honest,
right now, and didn't want to be there.
Growing up in it, I didn't want to be there. I was like, man, I didn't like having my bike stolen. You know what I mean? You can't help where you're born, right? I was born in less than desirable situation, South Central, man. And I would imagine South Central was very similar to Buffalo, which is very similar to New Orleans, right? You have these pockets of people that are there, right? We got put there. We were made to stay there, is the point, right? And now it may be easier to get out now, because we do have easier access to information. But before the computer age, we didn't have access to that information, right? Yeah. When I was younger, and trying to avoid having to squabble up all the time, you know what I mean? I didn't have access to the information. I didn't know that there was other options out there to get out of the hood. You only know what you know. You know what I'm saying? And I think we assume, right, that some people have access to what we have access to, but what if we don't? And I'm here to tell you, when I was working in workforce development, there is a thing called the digital divide, right? Some areas, some families don't have access to this digital resources, and it comes down to resources, right? We may assume that they may be able to get online and read about certain things and figure out a way out. They may not. And I know for a fact, because we were giving out hotspots to help people get access to IT training. I ran that program. So it's not, maybe there is some complacency, right? It never fails. You got winners and losers. Some people choose to be losers because they get complacent. But what about the ones that want to be winners, but they don't have anyone around them to show them how? You know what I'm saying? And they get stuck there because of
it ain't just the whole complacency thing, you know, like coming from where we come from, we ain't got how we gonna have role models? We stuck there. Those four walls, you in there ducking gunshots, and they dump drugs and alcohol and guns in the middle of a black community in order and say, go kill yourselves. And then they create laws. That's another thing. They scientifically study on how to prevent black people from doing anything in this country. And then they implemented laws in order to prevent. How do you ignore that?
I think
to me, that's crazy.
Another episode to cover.
That's crazy to me.
You say they meaning the government? The government?
Absolutely,
yeah. That we'll have to just do a whole show on that and get some of those metrics, because a lot of people don't realize that. We got some feedback on IG. Kick It Free just joined us. Shout out to my boy Kick It Free, Mr. K Free in the house. I'm catching up on the comments because they coming in. Dr. Poole made an excellent point. I would like to see people in lower income neighborhoods open up their own business and go back 21 car washes or pool cleaning and start their own stuff. Excellent point. You may be in somewhere like the East Side and you want to start your own business, but you don't have the resources. You don't have no one in your family was able to have equity, right? That they can give you to leverage to start your own business, right? And I share this, right? Because again, I'm getting heavy in the real estate and I'm looking at the East Side like, man, if I could get some real estate on the East Side, who's going to be able to pay the rent I would want to make in these houses, right? I'm looking at that. They need jobs. Ain't that many job opportunities on the East Side, man. When I'm going around here, I'm like, where are they going to get these jobs at? We're here in San Antonio. Maybe they could go to the South Side where all the factories are, you know what I'm saying? Toyota, stuff like that. Where are those opportunities at? You know what I'm saying? Like, I was thinking about this the other day. Like, man, if I was to do that, you know, try to give my people some housing, some affordable housing, they still need the money to pay it.
There's a huge Amazon facility right off of like Foster and 1516 out there where we're not too far, because John Mo and I don't live far from each other. Right there's a huge Amazon distribution facility right on a bus line. If you've got limited transportation, you know what I mean? And that's going to definitely open doors. Amazon is a giant corporation. You're probably going to work your butt off, but you're probably going to get some benefits out of it too. And
that's Chick-fil-A in my neighborhood.
You say what now?
Ain't no Chick-fil-A in my neighborhood. I don't know where these people be from. Ain't no Chick-fil-A in my. I was just showing somebody in my hood today. Ain't no alcohol stores, all of that stuff. Ain't no Chick-fil-A around my neighborhood. Like that tells you how bad it is around there. You know what I mean? You gotta go out to the outskirts to get Chick-fil-A.
Yep.
They don't put them stores around them neighborhoods. That's intentional. You know what I mean?
Intentional.
You know.
So K Free says something too. Schools are way different in white populations than they are in minority populations. And I know why. I mean, I can answer that question. A lot of that's because the money that pays for those schools comes from property taxes, right? The only people that pay property taxes are the people that own houses.
People that own houses, yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like, you don't get property taxes to go towards better schools if the population they're all renting. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many layers of it, right? That people don't think about. So now you get limited quality education, right? I know when I was in LA growing up, a lot of people got bused to better schools, right? Fortunately, Gardena was a decent high school. Kendrick Lamar said, "What school you went to?" Gardena, Compton. Hey, I went to Gardena. Anyway, but I know people that was getting bussed in from Watts, Compton, Crenshaw. You know what I mean? Because maybe those schools weren't the best quality because everyone's renting. You know what I mean? And guess what? Those are predominantly black neighborhoods. We were stuck there because we were redlined. You know what I mean? Again, it goes back to equity for leverage, but you need to be able to get access to property to get that equity so you can leverage it, right?
Leverage.
I would say that's the number one thing that's held us down financially. And the biggest trick in the book was civil rights, because it gave us the illusion of equality, but the real equality we needed was financial equality. That's what we truly needed. And the theories are out there that Martin Luther King figured that out. And that's why he got snuffed out. Just keeping it real, right? Because the real thing we've always needed was financial equality. That's what's been holding us back. That's what we truly need. We need programs that will give us access to property so we can get equity. That's what we need. May not be in the form of dollars, but almost like the military. We get VA loans, right?
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
Let's start there. Let's start there to where if you could prove your lineage, right?
I could see long term, like being able to work through programs where, let's say, Black people are able to come in, get approved for a loan to purchase a home, and be able to flip it, pay that loan back, and be able to get the equity out of that, and be able to do it, and to be able to create a cycle of wealth. You know what I mean?
That would never happen. There's a certain,
but it's a start.
It would be nice to see something like that. It would.
There's a percentage that exists on how many people they denied loans based on just their name. Javante. Nope, he black.
That's gonna be we're gonna have to do a full episode on that because we don't have enough time to cover all of that.
I'm not okay with that, because I think that's prejudging people before they even get the opportunity to come through the door and lay down exactly what their business plan is for being able to pay back these loans and what that looks like, for them. You know what I mean? Because I don't like seeing that. I think that's very judgmental. I think that, and nobody likes to do that. Nobody likes to be prejudged before you even open up your mouth. You can be the most intelligent person. You can be the most intelligent person with the name is Devontae and have a credit score of 815, but you're going to be denied. Like, that's never, ever, ever, ever okay in my book. Ever.
Let me say, my name is Ryan Cooper, right? Ryan Cooper.
You're like a white guy, to be honest with you.
My resume is popping too.
What's your what?
My resume is popping too. I put it out there. I get callbacks and all of that. The moment they find out I'm black, it's a totally different. They deal with me differently, and it's not something you see. You can feel it. They wasn't expect. I show up on that Zoom and they be like, "Oh, what the heck?"
It be like that.
Little stuff like that.
So Dr. Poole said, now that we explained it, he figured it out. He was redlined. You probably were.
I was redlined, bro.
Hey, let me see. Kick It Free said, anytime minorities begin to get ahead, most times the government find ways to destroy it slowly. I mean, redlining was a legal program that actually did that. And then, I mean, let's not bring up
They legalized
the Rosewood Massacre. That's a whole different thing. But I think to Bobby's
Black Wall Street.
Black Wall Street. Yep. So and the Kick It Free also said profiling is very real. What I was gonna share to Daniel Cooper's point, right? I intentionally gave my son white names. His name is Donovan Kyle Moreno. I intentionally put Kyle as his middle name because I did not want him to be prejudged when he got older.
He's gonna be stereotyped,
I wanted the Kyle to be there on college applications and job applications and resumes because I'm cognizant of the fact we prejudge in America. It is what it is, man. We can't be, oh, let's kumbaya, no, dog. We get the history shows we prejudge. So I was trying to create a life hack for my own son. I intentionally gave him a white name to get around that. It is what it is.
I want to make a point too. They try to confuse you because you see certain Black people make it. And they go, he made it. He made it in there. You don't even know why they put him in there. You know, they promote people in the military based on how many Filipino sergeant majors they got, how many Black female sergeant majors they got.
I've seen this more so recently. I saw somebody. I ain't gonna put all their business out there, but I saw somebody get promoted, and they should not have been because somebody else was because they were the right skin color.
So they
were the right minority. They were the right minority for the job. But I do think that doesn't make anybody. Your skin color shouldn't make you more or less qualified. Are you qualified for the job? Yes or no? And that's what it should come down to at the end of the day.
That's what it should be. Keyword.
That's what it should be. I'm looking at it from more of that equality stance. Like I would never hire somebody because of the color of their skin, because quite at the end of the day, I could care less because you could have some crappy work ethic and I ain't for it. I don't not at all. You know what I mean? Not everybody's gonna think like that. But you know, I wanted to make a point earlier. I told you I went to an all-Black school, and I'll tell you two things that I saw while I was growing up. In the 7th grade, what things that I saw. Dark-skinned Black people hated light-skinned Black people. I didn't understand that until I was an adult, and I thought that was the stupidest thing. Secondly,
that's still today.
Oh, I know, but that's what I'm saying. That's not something I understood until I was an adult. I understand it today. It doesn't make it okay, but it is what it is. I can't do anything about that. But I remember that there were some very smart Black kids in this school, and other Black kids would put them down and say, "Oh, you think you're so smart? Stop trying to be white. Stop trying to be white." And I'm like, "What? You know how many stupid white people there are? Like that is just the dumbest thing. Putting each other down because they're actually smart and wanting to do something with their lives and trying to diminish their knowledge and try to equate that to somebody of a different skin color. Stupidest thing I ever heard was like, "Oh, stop trying to be
why though?
Because they're smart." I didn't understand that. You know.
Do you still don't? I can't. I mean.
Yeah. I thought that was the dumbest.
As we get ready to wrap this up, I think there's 2 points I want to go off to wrap this up. One, you made a point earlier. It's for a possible solution moving forward. But Daniel, I'll let you explain why it's like that. What she explained, the whole dark skin versus light skin, or people getting on Black folks that talk smarter, aka white. I'll give you the opportunity to take that one, Daniel, if you want it. Because we can explain.
Okay, yeah, for sure. Let me hit it. Let me try to hit it on the head.
I understand the skin color of darker being versus lighter. I get that, but I don't understand the whole smart part of it. That's
growing up in poverty or whatever, you know, they like I said, we strict access to resources. Even we were slaves. This dates back so far along. They didn't even allow us to learn how to read.
Right. So yes.
So as far as the skin color thing, you know, being grown up in those environments, we already taught that white people think they're better than us. You meet somebody light skinned come around, whatever, or they talk proper, whatever the case may be. It turns into that. You think you're better than me? You think you're better than me? You ain't better than me. Now you're getting bullied. You ain't even do nothing. You might have been raised somewhere where y'all talk proper and around intelligent people. I've been in this crab in a bucket of a neighborhood around all of these ignorant people who don't read books. They too busy trying to get their next meal. They selling drugs. People, you know, gunfights happening on the corners and stuff like that because of turf issues, and the father's out of the household. Everybody's on drugs, and like this is where you come from. There's no knowledge circulating in that community. you get around somebody like that, and they talk like that, but they not necessarily white, but the way that they carry themselves, you think you better than me.
Yeah.
You think you better than me, huh? And now you start getting bullied. People really feel some kind of way about that. And they're not aware of it either. I want to be clear about that. They're not aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
They're not aware that they're proper, or the other person.
No, the person who's bullying is not aware to what they're doing. And so, like, people like me have cracked those codes. I've cracked the Da Vinci Code with some of this stuff. I ain't supposed to know this stuff. You know, I do think I'm smart. I read a lot, and my eyes is kind of open to certain things. And now I know where it came from. I'm like, that's why they do that. But you just see the action.
Yeah.
And even you just like, I got bullied. I got bullied by black people. I don't like that. Not even really necessarily knowing where it came from. They don't know what they're doing.
I've had people hate me without me even opening up my mouth, and I'm not even lying about that.
Oh.
But they don't know.
You
have to be taught hatred. You taught hatred. They don't know. I'm telling you, Bobby, they don't know. If they had strong fathers in their household, there's parents out there that beat the heck out their child. They find out their child was bullying somebody.
I wish my kids would.
People who don't come from that. They raised by women in a single household, and they got to put up with the streets. You from that, Geronimo? You got to navigate Slauson and Crenshaw and stuff like that, trying to get to and from school and stuff like that. You know, you don't have no strong, around you. And so that's pretty much where that comes from, and it's a trickle effect. There's still the remnants of that even to this day.
We still need to heal. That's really what it was. You were a victim of pain. That's really, unfortunate. I hate that happened to you, but I had to get in some squabbles and fights because I was light skinned. You know what I mean? Unfortunately. But Kick It Free said it on IG. This is the real reason. Daniel gave a smart answer. This is just a simple on the surface answer. Is back in the day during slave times, the light-skinned folks got to be in the house when they were slaves, and the dark-skinned folks were out in the field, sweating and dying and stuff
so
like that.
That I did know. That's where they like coined the term like a house nigga, right?
A house, yeah.
That's how they coined that term, because there was a possibility. Yeah, I just said the N word. I didn't call nobody that, but I'm telling you, that's what I hear.
That's the word. You good, Bobby? That's the word.
But it is the word, because there's a possibility that slave owners slept with somebody, right? And they slept with one of their slaves, and because that slave was half white, half black, they were given different.
Created biracial child.
Yes, they created biracial child and was given different privileges, and so because of that, they didn't have to work in the fields. They got to be inside because they were probably even considered cleaner.
So that's the example that we talking about. So you understand when I talk about the trickle effect, then.
Yeah. Well,
you understand when I got to talk about redlining and all.
Let me add to that. So, because not only it was taught that the white people are better than you and you better be subservient to your master. It was taught that was taught, right?
They beat that into you too.
Yeah, it was beat into you. And explain why a lot of the fathers weren't around in the black communities is because if they did not show, if they weren't subservient to their white master, they would get killed, right? So the men were getting killed off. To talk to your point about why the men were not around, fast forward Jim Crow laws. If you looked at a white woman, you could get killed, and that's the reason why Black Wall Street got burned down. You know what I mean? So it's all of these generational curses. They're in psychology. I remember reading about generational memory, right? So back then, right, it was taught that, hey, this is your superior, right? And when you first got the freedom, right, of the Emancipation Proclamation, it was still being pushed on you that is your superior. You're trying to break out of that. Like, no, you are not my superior, right? So, and now I know the generational memory carried over, right, to where there is an animosity between the lights and the darks, the blacks and the whites, right? I'm gonna be very straight.
Just love each other, okay?
It's easier said than done, because you gotta think about 400 years worth of conditioning, right? You don't undo that 400 years of conditioning in the matter of a few decades. It's gonna take more time to heal. You know what I mean? It's really that's really what it is. There's gonna have to be time spent healing that damage that was done over generations, right? Just really generational pain that was passed on. We have to heal. Now you fast forward to here in the East Side, they see you look white. You know what I mean? That generational pain, that generational memory is you oppressed me. You know what I'm saying? I'm mad at you. I don't truly understand why I'm mad at you, but I'm mad at you. You know what I mean? That's the pain you have to heal. You know what I'm saying? And I was down to have this conversation so we can get there to that point, right? Is to talk about.
And it's good to talk about that. The good thing about having this podcast is we bring up those controversial topics that people are not comfortable talking about. But Geronimo and I, at the end of the day, like, we love each other. I have his back. I know he has mine. And so it's easier to talk about those when you're coming from like a place of love. But when we talk about racism, that's not something natural for humans. It's not natural. It is a learned hatred is a learned quality, and that can go for any for anybody. It's not a skin color thing. It's just an anybody thing. You can learn to hate people.
It's learned hate, man. It's learned hate. It's learned hate. It's learned hate.
It don't make it okay.
It does not make it okay. But if you understand, like you've heard me say this, if you try to look at it through the other person's lens, then you can understand, right? I can sum it up quick, and then I want to close on that point you made, Bobby, because you made a really good point, right? Through the lenses of the slave masters, right? We were brought here as free labor, right? That free labor equals wealth, right? That wealth got put in the trust. We talked about that, got passed on. But now you're like, wait a minute, I gotta pay these people now. Put your mind space in that thought process. I was taught to learn that no, these are just free labor. They're not humans. They're labor. What are you talking about? I gotta let them free, and now we gotta pay them. I'm pissed. You know what I'm saying? Right, wrong, or indifferent. No, it's straight up, right? If you have free labor and now you have to pay them, you're pissed because now you
they ain't want to free. Black people practically freed themselves in that Civil War.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you messing with my money. And now I seeing it through the other lens, that got taught and passed down, right? To where that hate is no. You don't forget they were only brought here to be free labor. And then on the other side of that coin, it's don't forget you were only brought here to be free labor. And you have to bring those folks together and get that happy medium to be like, hey, it is what it is. We brought here to be free labor. Your money was messed up when we got freed, right? Get over it. Like it's America now. Like that's the conversation that has to happen. Don't sweep it under the rug. Don't say forget about it. No, let's address it head on, right? Get the pain out so we can start healing. You know what I mean? That's truly what needs to happen.
Good. Well said.
That's truly what needs to happen. And the last point I want to get feedback on before we wrap this thing up is you said something earlier, Bobby, that the way you said it, I would tweak it a little bit, right? Because you were saying that there should be like grants where Black people should be able to get houses and then flip
programs.
A program grant, something, right? I would take it a step further. I would say grants to where Black people get houses they get to own, and then they can build equity, and they could tap into that equity into other, opportunities to grow security and wealth. You get what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, you still need a place to live. You know what I mean? And why not have that access to that opportunity to have somewhere to live, right? That you own. You could tap into that equity and then build off of that. That's what I was thinking when you were saying that. What's your thoughts on that?
So the San Antonio Housing Authority offers, at least they did, I don't know if they still do or not, but they did offer a first-time home buyers program. And the reason why I know is because I bought my first house when I was 21 years old, and I went through their program. It was a 2-step course where I had to go through 2 4-hour classes on home ownership, purchasing, buying, equity, taxes, how that all worked. Once I completed that course, I was offered a grant because even though I was in the military, I didn't qualify for the VA because I hadn't been in long enough. So I got approved for an FHA grant, for Federal Housing Authority grant. So because of that program, is why I was able to buy a home. And it wasn't a skin color issue. It was just, hey, if you wanted to do this and you qualified for FHA, you were able to go through this first-time home buyer tax program, but you also had to live in the house for 5 years. You couldn't sell it. And during that time, you owned that property, and then you're paying through your mortgage and your taxes and stuff, you're building equity into that home. So there is a program like that, and there may even be more enhancements to it now. But I would encourage wherever you live to look into first time home buyer program provided by your city or even your county that you live in. Tap into what those resources look like, because I imagine that they're there, especially for first time home buyers. We want to see everybody in home ownership. We want to see everybody in the next real estate mogul. We want to see that. We want to see people have success and bring generational wealth, no matter what your background is. We want to see you be successful in America, and that's the beauty of the American dream. Everybody should. Everybody.
That's what you think? Close us out, Daniel.
Yeah, man, I agree with a lot of that stuff. I don't really want to get too deep on it. We've been here for a while, and I gotta run to the store too. So
yeah, me too.
Yeah, I gotta run to the store too. So but yeah, I definitely, I think we all agree on pretty much everything that was said here, and you know, opening up these conversations is really important because it is really educational.
Yeah,
you see two sides of the coin, and it's like, dang, man, I ain't never thought of it like that. Sometimes it could get real 3D-dimensional.
Yeah,
you start looking at a Rubik's Cube now because everybody's chiming in and people got some interesting perspectives and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but yeah, definitely, I think the resources for everybody is important. I'm not just advocating for Black people. I don't care who it is. I have a heart. It could have happened to anybody, any other race of people. I think they should be compensated in order to level the playing field and let people live their lives and build generational wealth and just live a peaceful life. That's what I'm striving for.
That.
So that's my opinion on it.
You know what? And if everyone is on equal playing field to build wealth, all you doing is building America, fam. Come on, man.
How you not understand that? How they don't understand that, y'all? That's crazy to me.
And on that, we're gonna close it up. IG, y'all were live as hell tonight. Thank y'all. Love y'all. Facebook, YouTube. If y'all on this, make sure you like and subscribe so you get notifications so we can have these good conversations together. Daniel, thanks for joining us. Let them know how to get in contact with you if you want people getting in contact with you.
Yeah, man, I gotta share my LinkedIn and Instagram and all that later on. I've been going through a rebranding phase.
Okay,
so I got a whole new Instagram, but you can find me on LinkedIn, Ryan Cooper. In the middle, it's probably gonna say Daniel with the parentheses. So you know you found the right person. If I'm standing there in my commencement gown and in the picture with my cap and gown on and all of that stuff.
Hell
you know,
yeah.
so
Great
follow me on LinkedIn. I'll follow back. Let's connect.
Hell yeah. And hey man, thanks for bringing that topic up, man. It was a good conversation. I think we got some understanding here. Bobby, let them know what services you provide here in San Antonio and how to get in contact with you.
All right, I'll let you know. But first, Daniel, thank you for joining the show. We always appreciate your feedback, your opinion. We value what the experiences you bring to the table. Love you, man. Much love to you, your family, your daughter, and very Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to you. For everybody else on Facebook, IG, YouTube, thanks a lot for joining us today. You can reach me at bobby.lopez.5 on IG, Bobby Lopez on Facebook, and Bobby Lopez on LinkedIn. Come and talk to us. If you got water mitigation issues, pipes busting, especially with the cold and hot happening, you never know what's going to happen. Get in touch with me. Call me if something like that happens. We are a disabled veteran-owned small business owned by myself here in Texas, and it's under Patriot Restorations, LLC. You see us, come find us, give us a call, and we'll help you out.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And I'm Geronimo at tech_Vaughn_go. If you got a good topic you want to talk about, like what we just talked about tonight, holla at me. We'll make that happen. Other than that, thank y'all for showing us the love again. Daniel, a million thank yous for coming through. We had a great conversation. Other than that, that's it for the night. Hey, we out. Good night, y'all.
The clapping on the way out.